department at IIT Bombay, now Mumbai, India, having over 22 years of teaching, research and professional experience, always first class first and gold medalist in all stages of the academics. Starting with first to 12th standard schooling at Jodhpur Park Boys School, Kolkata, followed by BE Civil Engineering from Jadavpur University, Kolkata in 1997, with entire university second rank among all branches of the engineering. ME Civil Geotechnical Engineering from Indian Institute of Science, ISC Bangalore, with entire institute first rank among all branches of engineering with Senate commendation. Professor Chaudhary, Sri Chaudhary completed PhD in a record time of 2.5 years in Civil Geotechnical Earthquake Engineering from ISC Bangalore in 2002 and received Professor G.A. Leonard's Best PhD Thesis Award in entire India from Indian Geotechnical Society, New Delhi in the year 2001 and 2. Professor Chaudhary worked as a lecturer at IIT Kanpur during 2002-3 and moved to IIT Bombay in 2003 as assistant professor and became full professor in 2012. He also mentioned two new IITs, namely he mentored two new IITs, namely IIT Gandhinagar in 2009 and IIT
And I was fortunate to be a part of that for the foundation part, where L&T approached us at IIT Bombay. The foundation design as well as the seismic design we have carried out at IIT Bombay. You can find out in social media and also news media just by searching all these interviews and details about the project. But today's thing, I have not chosen this project to describe because I understand that there will be another forum. As this is an Indian building complex, so related to buildings or structures, what we do, what we try to do at IIT Bombay, I will try to give a glimpse of it. So to start with, today in the morning half, our Professor Tandon has nicely spoken about the need for various components for the design of infrastructure, and I will highlight here that more challenges come when it has to handle the disaster. Like currently, while handling the State Disaster Management Authority as a chairman, I see that there are 36 disasters in the state, and some of them are given priority, obvious reason to that which area and which disaster is coming. So for the infrastructure is concerned, I try to work on the area of earthquake and tsunami and other things, but I will highlight today some of the things related to earthquake. So when we identify a site, whether it is suitable for construction or not, many a times, as again, this is the nice thing coming after Professor Tandon, I think this is third or fourth time I am speaking after him, that he has introduced the topic so nicely. I can easily say that in urban areas we don't have choice of selecting the site actually, because all the sites are taken care of. So whether you are lying at the low risk zone or moderate risk zone or high risk zone, we should have the solutions. So for that, we should know how detailed the analysis, how detailed the testing has to be done, and those are listed in this slide. So when we come to the foundations, as I work in the geotechnical engineering or foundation engineering, essentially, in our undergraduate or the class teaching, we always say there are two types of foundation, shallow and deep foundation. I think this is high time now we identify the third vertical of the foundation, which is a composite foundation. You neither can tag it as a shallow foundation nor you can tag it as a deep foundation completely. It is a mixture of two. And one such example is combined pile-drive foundation, and in this area, very recently a new IS code we were able to launch it. So what is this concept of combined pile-drive foundation? See, when we need a foundation to be given for any building, first choice is always a shallow foundation because of the cost effectiveness, you all know about this. But when the raft is also experiencing the more than tolerable settlement, what do? We jump from raft foundation to pile foundation, right? But instead of doing that, if we can arrest the, let us say, little bit excess of the settlement which is caused in the raft foundation by few number of piles, that will be much more cost-effective foundation solution, and that is where the combined pile comes in place. So you can see over here, this is a combination of both raft effect and pile effect. There are two types of concept, pile enhanced raft or raft enhanced pile, and these are the details which the research started, I will say, in 70s in UK by Professor Barland, then later on in 80s by Professor Harry Poulos, Professor Kalsenbach and this group. But the first applied structure where this combined pile drive has been used is in 1990 to 1992 in Messeturm Tower in Frankfurt am Main. We all know about the glory of Burj Khalifa. Professor Tandon again today have shown the pile testing of Burj Khalifa. So for Burj Khalifa, Professor Poulos has shown the foundation settlement solutions, etc. And remember, this building also is on combined pile drive foundation. So that's why a 827 tall structure, you don't need a foundation depth, another 400 meter or 200 meter or even 100 meter. Just 50 meter depth of the foundation is good enough. And the further future glory of foundation engineering probably is the Jeddah Tower, which is under construction now in Saudi Arabia. I happened to visit in the last two consecutive conferences of Jeddah Tower. They called me for the keynote lecture. You can see the picture over there. Now it is 1/3 is constructed. It will be world tallest tower, surpassing the height of the Burj Khalifa. As you know, it is 1 kilometer tall. They say actually 1007 meter. Foundation, everything is already done. This is also on combined pile drive foundation with piles of variable length from 45 meter to 105 meter with a foundation raft thickness of 4.5 meter. So this is a classical example of practical applications of this new technology, which is the theme of this present session today. Also, this is highly cost effective. You can see this is the Messeturm Tower which I was mentioning, in the world first applied combined pile drive foundation structure. So this, Professor Katzenberg was the consultant for that from Germany. When I was working with him during the Humboldt Fellowship in Germany, we have also analyzed how much cost saving it takes place. Just for one building, you see, about $6 million was saved instead of going to completely pile group of foundation as combined pile foundation was used. So there is instead of 316 piles in the case of pile group foundation, only 64 piles have been used, and that was good enough for the safety and stability of the entire building. Also, this is the carbon production. Nowadays we talk about the sustainability, so this is another particle you can add into it. So from this understanding, what we did, internationally we have International Society for Soil Mechanics and Geotechnical Engineering. There are 47 member countries across the globe. So we came out with the International Design Guideline or International Design Code. In 2013 we published it under this TC 212, and Professor Katzenberg was chairman of the committee. I was secretary of the committee. We published how this combined pilot foundation has to be designed, because you know the knowledge is already there, but until and unless it comes in a design manual or a coder provision, probably practicing engineer hesitate to use it, and probably there will be several questions to be asked to that. So if you see the total foundation load, that is divided between pile as well as raft, whereas pile share the load from the end bearing and skin friction, whereas raft takes based on the settlement requirement. So this is the serviceability requirement. As per the settlement, how much stresses is going to generate, and that you integrate to get the capacity of the raft. We have also written a textbook from CRC Press UK, Taylor and Francis in 2016. You can find out the entire details of the solution for the foundation system for high-rise structures, which talks about all the details of the technical design of combined pile foundation. Also, with our Japanese colleague also, I have written this book, Pile Raft Foundations, Design and Analysis. Also, you know, we call a pioneer or a father figure, Cedar Idris in the liquefaction and earthquake engineering. I happened to work with Professor Idris for developing this book on dynamic soil structure interaction, and we have published it with Springer in 2019. That is the new BIS code which I was mentioning in a few minutes back, that after I will say a struggle of more than 6 years, the committee was formed way back in 2019 by then CED 43 BIS chairman Professor Nitin So, one of the former professor from Jadavpur University. So this committee he constituted with me as convener of the committee with various other expert members both from academia, field, R&D sectors. How we put this combined pile in the Indian Design Code. So this is the new design code, came up this year March through Gazette notification. You must be aware about that. IS 19117/2025. So this code actually now allows, and I must thank this, the demand for this came from the industry actually. The NPCIL, our Nuclear Power Corporation of India Limited, Mumbai, when they wanted to design for our new upcoming GHVP Haryana new nuclear power plant, there they found that this is the most challenging site, because all our existing structures of the nuclear buildings, whatever is existing in India so far, are on rocky site. But this is the first nuclear building they are going to construct completely on an alluvial soil. There is no rock. So the challenge comes in the foundation, not in the superstructure. So when they tried with the raft, obviously raft didn't work, and then instead of trying the pile foundation, which is coming of course very costly and very cumbersome, huge number of piles, etc., they thought they will try this combined pile. So they wanted an Indian code also, though the international design guideline was there, they wanted a code on, Indian code on this combined pile foundation. So thanks to NPCIL for initiating this. Then later on many agencies actually now for many tall buildings and structures, people do use this code 19117 for design of the combined pile foundation. So these are the few extracts I am just highlighting, as this is a new code we were able to launch. Where we can use this code, we have clearly written. So where a raft cannot provide an adequate bearing capacity, or where the raft is unable to perform under the serviceability requirement, then you can go for this one. Also, we mentioned in the other parts of the code where we cannot use. It is not that combined pilot foundation we can use anywhere and everywhere. If you have a liquefiable soil immediately below the raft, or if you have a very soft soil, or if you have the modulus value between the pile tip and the raft base more than 9 ratio, you should not use combined pilot foundation. This is the committee who actually created, thanks to all the members, and I was happy to chair this session with several meetings over the period of 6 years, as I mentioned to you. So we also define what we classify as large CPRF and small CPRF, because depending on your analysis, design, everything changes. So these are few extracts you can easily get. Nowadays, thanks to BIS, they make all the codes easily available and downloadable. So if you all can download it free, just you have to log in with your membership ID. So this is the concept what I was mentioning. It is a 4 types of soil structure interaction problem. What are those 4 types? Pile soil interaction, which we also do in the group pile capacity, because that is how the efficiency of the pile group we try to find out. So that also we have to do here. Next is pile interaction, that also we do in the group pile design, because that is how you arrive at the spacing of the pile, which typically 3D, 3.5D or 2.5D we use in practice. Raft soil interaction, that we do for the raft design with wiggler, spring and various other things, soil structure interaction. The new thing which we never do in other cases of foundation is the interaction between pile and raft. So that is very important, how they talk to each other, how this pile and raft they interact with each other. So this is a very complex soil structure interaction problem involving all these 4, and this is the picture which shows the settlement of a pile raft versus a pure raft. So obviously, when it is completely one, the alpha CPRF, that means the total load is shared by pile only. Alpha CPRF is the load sharing factor, which is defined as total load taken by pile divided by total load taken by complete CPRF. So what should be our idealized design consideration? The theoretical value should be 50% or 0.5, because then you have utilized the full capacity of your raft and full capacity of pile. But in practice it never happens. If you have instrumented data like Burj Khalifa, and there are several other buildings nowadays coming, including our India's nuclear power plant building, which will be completely instrumented, you can measure and find out typically pile takes the major load 80% or 70%, but raft also take a large portion of the load, which is 20 to 30% of it. There is a catch about the settlement. If you talk about pile group settlement or raft settlement, we are restricted to some value of the group settlement, which in the code we mention actually. Anyway, that also I am involved as a committee member, we are trying to revise. But for pile raft, worldwide, if you see, including the Burj Khalifa's design, if you have gone through the Professor Pula's paper, you know, we should not restrict the total settlement, because that is, then the full capacity of the pile and raft cannot be utilized. What you should restrict for the structural safety and foundation safety, you should restrict the rotational displacement, or the rotation or the differential settlement. That we always restrict within 1/500. If you restrict that, your total settlement, even if what we call first floor become ground floor, doesn't matter as long as structural stability is concerned. Maybe your utility point of view may not be useful, but the structural stability is ensured if you restrict the distortion or angular distortion. So in code we have kept that. But you will still see there is a value we have restricted for the total load under gravity is 125 mm, because of the lot of deliberations, and you know, when the code is created there will be wide circulation. Most of you must be getting the mail. 2 times wide circulation, several comments from industry, academia, various sectors. Anybody can give the comments. So everybody was scared when we don't give any upper limit of the total settlement. What we did, like code 16700, which is a tall building code, as you know, we have given the 125, so we tried to match with that and give that 125 millimeter. But that created a little problem for our NPCIL colleagues, because the nuclear power plant is going to experience even sometimes more total settlement, but keeping the angular distortion less. Also, we have mentioned how the load carrying capacity will be used by the equation in the code. We have given how one can compute in the design, when the design office they are going to do that, how this alpha pp, that is the interaction factor between pi to pi, alpha rp between raft and pi, alpha pr between pi to raft, all these things need to be considered, and those have to put in your expression to get the capacity of what is called pile raft. We also have given a range, practical range, to start with your design and then come up with the final solution after a few iterations. One thing I want your attention, the second point, which is pile spacing ratio. What I said a few minutes back, typically for pile group, as you know, we use the pile spacing typically 2.5D. D is the diameter of the pile, 3D or 3.5D max. We don't go beyond that. But pile raft is such that you are allowed to go even up to 8D. Why? Because if your settlement is marginally not fulfilling because of the raft foundation, you need only few displacement arrested piles. So that's why you don't need a regular pile foundation spacing of 2.5 or 3D. You can even go for higher spacing, and that will give you a effective design of combined pile raft foundation like this. So that in the code also we have mentioned. In the code we also have mentioned about monitoring aspect, structural design. Only thing we highlighted in this code that seismic design also need to be done, but we have kept this at present out of scope of this code, because you know, if we add everything in one code it becomes bulky, then usefulness reduces. So we are hoping to create another new code for the earthquake related design for this combined pile raft foundation. Now coming to its application, actually in world tallest structures, you know, historically these are the world tallest structures. Nowadays in India, 300-meter structure tall building is nothing. Many are available actually. In our high-rise committee last 2.5 years when I am serving, we have approved more than 6 such buildings which are having height more than 300 meters in Mumbai. I will come to that detail. So this is just a brief GK knowledge for all of us to remember that our India's first tallest building was 54 meters in Chennai, and later on 1961 when Mumbai's 80-meter high building came, that becomes the India's tallest building. At present, what is the definition of high-rise or tall building? It is not a fixed number. I just want to convey here to you, different countries use different threshold, and that is mostly decided, I will say, by the builders and the requirement and, rather than design. In China, the tall building means it has to be 150 meters and above. In India, mostly Mumbai, because tall building means Mumbai only, it started from everything. And this committee of high-rise, what I am mentioning, it was constituted by Bombay High Court way back in 1994. Later on, Supreme Court again reinstituted this committee, and that is what we are serving. Dubai as well as South Korea, we define 120 meters and above as a high-rise or tall building. So below that, it doesn't come to our committee because there are so many buildings below 120 meters. US and Singapore, they define 100 meters and above as a tall building. Their definition is like that. Australia and UK, they say 50 meters and above as a tall building. And where do we stand at present globally in the rank of tall building? So this is the data which shows that India is currently at 12th position, but very soon we will be in top 10, I'm sure, because in last 2.5 years in Mumbai itself, we have approved about 150 tall buildings which are more than 120 meters. But here the definition, they have used the highest one, which is the China's definition, 150 meters and above. So in India, we had already completed 167. You know the Lokhandwala Vinarpa is the tallest as of now. You can Google it also, I found it. And 320 meter, last week also we have approved one more project from our high-rise committee in Mumbai. So sky is the limit, and for that you need another review panel. So regular design is not sufficient. So what is called ERP, Expert Review Panel, that our code also mentions 16700. And that code says any building which are higher than 250 meter must go through this ERP additionally and submit it to get an NOC from the municipality. So BMC in first 2022, they have published the list of experts who can be there in panel. There are structural experts, dynamics expert, many are there. I have only mentioned the geotechnical expert, and also other states slowly coming up, which is a good thing. I believe in India all the states should come up. Maharashtra is always the first starter, many places. In this case also Maharashtra is the leading state which initiate many things like this. So Haryana has copied the BMC's list and added few names from the north. So that is good. They also have now ERP panel well in place as per government office order. Recently, just last year December, I was involved in the CREDAI. CREDAI, as you know, the organization which the construction and building, they do several projects, and I was a jury member to find out the awardees of the best projects for CREDAI. So what we mentioned at that times also has covered that other cities, like this was held in Calcutta, I see that there are several buildings, tall buildings are coming up in marshy land, in soft soil, without any such kind of technical vetting or peer review, which is a bit dangerous, and caution, because you see many a times in the news, many buildings are touching each other. We see, get to see many Pisa Tower experience in such cases, though nobody buys ticket for that, but we go to see Pisa Tower. So these are the things which need to be implemented in other states also. Committee like high-rise committee. Because this high-rise committee was constituted after a major disaster, as you know, in 90s. That's why the code has to come in place and constitute this committee. This is the high-rise scenario in India all over at present, mostly where the definition already I told what is the definition of high-rise. Oh, I must add, there is another definition of high-rise. If your aspect ratio of the building is more than 9, that means your height to width ratio is more than 9, then also it has to come to this committee for additional approval. It's good to see that Professor Tandon in his lecture has appreciated that how the pile design, geotechnical design, footing design need to be taken with huge importance. These are some of the pictures. Now in the high-rise committee there is a checklist, that is they have to abide by before they come with the proposal to get an NOC from the municipal commissioner, that these tests need to be done and completed and come with the proper results. This is the pilot test. Of course, what you are showing, yes, that is too dangerous to use such kind of a huge cartilage. So nowadays with the reaction file, they use the first one is the failure one. The second one again they have to recreate. And nowadays, because of this 300-meter tall building, you can easily imagine how much the pile load capacity, etc., are coming in place. These are other osteomer cell. What he also has mentioned, mostly for the component of the friction, skin friction, everything you will get, lateral component also you get, these techniques are also used. Another thing, we made it mandatory in our high-rise committee that not only the field test and SPT, because before I joined the committee in 2023 January, what we had no geotechnical expert in the committee. So they used to come with only SPT data for geotechnical, and based on that they used to design the foundation for such tall tower, you see. Now it is a mandatory, SPT is not enough, they have to do also the NABL accredited lab testing and compare the values of E-value, which is bookish value, academically from book formula you picked up and calculated E-value, versus the real value what you are getting for your material, and check which one is the more critical. This is one of the examples. Earlier, there was always a resistance from the geotechnical consultant, obviously, because his work is increasing. But for the safety of the building and foundation, we now ensure this is must done. And he himself later on appreciated that, see sir, we got a case where laboratory Young's modulus is much lower than your theoretical value, what the book empirical relation. Because book empirical relation, with all regards, it is actually based on few limited data of that region. And many a time that is not our Indian data also. So why we should rely on that? We should create our own data in our country, in our space, in our state, and in our locality. Another important factor was always missing is the interference effect. Because you see, Mumbai, this is not an uncommon case, two buildings almost within a gap of 6 meters, right? So you will see several tall buildings like this, one after another, and earlier there was no consideration of effect of surrounding building interference on the newly getting constructed building, because until and unless you consider that, your excess increase in the soil pressure because of the surrounding building is not taken care of, then that creates you additional settlement. So now this is in place, they must abide by this also. To make it more, I will say, enforced, what we did again, I was a committee member of IS 1892, which is a geotechnical soil exploration, subsurface exploration. We included this component that interference effect must be taken care of in the design, and also the pressure bulb effect of 10% up to the pressure level has to be taken. Earlier, if you recall the old code, which was 1978 version, it said that you have to take 1.5 B where B is the wind. But that doesn't work in many places. So what you have to do, you have to calculate the stresses coming down to 10%, so the contributions coming to settlement actually is within the limit. These are some of the examples of failures, mostly due to the interference effect before, earlier, like 2018, 21, etc. Fortunately, this monsoon and previous monsoon, I hope you have not seen any such news from Mumbai coming collapsing because of enforcement of these additional stresses to consider because of interference effect. So, as again Professor Tandon was mentioning my name, that I will explain about Plaxis. So, the geotechnical designer, when they are coming with a proposal, they have to do site investigation thoroughly, lab test thoroughly. Plaxis analysis, I don't promote Plaxis. It can be in Plaxis, it can be in Midas, it can be in Flat, it can be in any geotechnical competent software, but not in the conventional structural software or ETAB, because we saw the limitations of ETAB, what it cannot take, what Plaxis and Midas or Flat geotechnical software can take. So you see, the present scenario, one of the projects I have just taken, not only the project in concern has been mentioned, but also surrounding building, everything has been taken. Whether it is a tall building or not coming under the definition of tall building. Even G+7 also has been considered. So how much increase in the stress is happening, and because of that how much settlement. So it is found that though it is sometimes maybe 2-3 millimeter only, but still it is there. And more so, the distortion or the angular rotation need to be checked because of that effect. Because one side may be the road, other side all your tall buildings, so obviously you are going to get an additional tilting because of that. These are when we go for a site visit to first stage for high-rise committee has to visit a site visit, and then they come up with the presentation in the office, and then there will be compliance, etc. So it is a 3-stage process of approval. I got very surprised to see such kind of code box. You saw code box are overflowing. So what does it mean? That means you have the consultant who have done, they have not kept the material properly. They are saying that from the ground they got more than the ground length material over there. So that kind of, I would say, nonsense type of practice was there earlier. Also, you see what he has mentioned, shore pile, sheet pile. This is very common in Mumbai, because without that you cannot go for such a deep excavation of 20 meter deep, 30 meter deep, etc. So when shore pile we try to see, so these are our job now, to visit and check. Only rods are hanging. Concrete has not reached to the bottom. So what kind of workmanship is this? Anyway, now we are are trying to fix it as maximum as possible. So these are few good practices. When we tell about good practices, not only dead load live load, they have to check dead load live load, wind load. As you know, even internal test is also a compulsory for 150 meter and above. Also in X direction, Y direction, earthquake load, and serviceability requirement has to be ensured. Another thing we ensure are compulsory is, if it is an open foundation or draft foundation, footing load test is a must now. Earlier it was not there. Also pile load test, initial pile load test is a must now. Also HSDT, which is high strain dynamic test. After you cast the pile, just to check whether your piles are in proper healthy condition or not, whether it is giving the capacity or not, that also we have implemented. So these are all, I am trying to change both in the code as a code committee member as well as a high-rise committee member. I am implementing the same. So that is what we are trying to improve our geotechnical and foundation engineering practice from the knowledge of the design. So this is our present high-rise committee with the present municipal commissioner of Mumbai, as you might be knowing. And one thing, what we found when I joined, the signatory for the design approval was the structural engineer. There is no signature of the geotechnical engineer. So if any collapse happens, who will go behind the bar? Only the structural engineer. Geotechnical engineer can still be safe, even if the person has done mistake in the design, right? So I was so happy to see the demand coming from my structural colleagues and friends, all the top leading consultants of structure in Mumbai and Pune, Maharashtra region. They came and told in our meeting, they told me that, sir, we don't understand what is shear wave velocity, we don't understand how N value to C5 value, etc. are created, how E value is changing, how power is changing. But we are signing blindly, assuming my geotechnical colleague has done the right thing. So why don't you give a recognition to the geotechnical engineer? And that's why geotechnical engineers are least paid, because they don't take responsibility, right? You have to be well paid if you take responsibility. So now, fortunately, BMC has approved it after several, with all the stakeholders of the association, IEI, ISSC, everybody was present, Builders Association, Architect Association, and we came up with this final approval from the BMC. I think it is covering the video capture. It initiated in 30th August last year, finally on 11th of December. So this official notice came on 11th of December. It is available in BMC. Now, geotechnical engineer or consultant is a separate signatory. So what it makes, geotechnical person taking the responsibility of foundation and entire geotechnical thing, that saves the structural engineer from any foundation related damage is going to happen. At the same time, geotechnical engineer and consultant, we say now you can increase your value, you can charge more because you are taking responsibility. So this is a good move, I will say, and we are trying to implement and hope other states also follow the same way, recognizing the geotechnical and foundation engineer, not putting it everything on the structural colleagues. So just, I think my time is up. I will just, so this NPCIL project, I was very happy to be their advisor since 2014 onwards, and this is the site which I was mentioning. It is completely on alluvial soil, as I said, not on hard rock. On the contrary, our existing nuclear buildings are on hard rock. So that was the foundation safety issues, etc. was so easy here, it was not. So this is a typical nuclear island. All the foundations, everything came to our IIT Bombay. We did an independent analysis, and these are details. So this kind of thorough analysis we did. While doing the analysis, another point I always say, our structural engineers, they do their superstructure analysis so nicely with all the mode shapes, deflection, everything. But when it comes to soil, they just use soil springs, right? A vertical spring, lateral spring, or rotational spring, etc. That's it, nothing more. They want only SBC, which is not complete picture. On the contrary, we foundation engineer, when we do the excellent analysis of piles and everything, soil, constitutive model, difficult model, we consider various constitutive model and so on. When it comes to structural load, we take vertical load, lateral load and moment. That's it. So, neither way is fully complete. We have done research also, I am not showing that because of time. that if you miss out that structural stiffness and height, everything concerned in your foundation design, your natural frequency and everything gets changed drastically. That change your complete dynamic design dimension itself. So what is correct? You model entire structure, both superstructure and substructure, and do the rigorous analysis. That is what we did for nuclear building over there. There are several, this is the iteration one, of course, because of classified nature I am not showing the final output. This is just the first iteration. There was initially 576 number of piles with 100 meter by 100 meter grid size. It's a huge massive structure. You can see this is what the thickness of the raft. You see the raft thickness itself is 7.7 meter, almost 2.5 floor. Okay, with surrounding reactor auxiliary building area 3.5 meter of thickness of the raft, and number of piles with different diameters and length, 36 meter and 30 meter, that has been used in the first iteration. This is the analysis both by NPCIL engineers independently and our IIT Bombay we did independently. So this is what some kind of comparison you can say with different software, and this is what alpha CPLF we got, like about 80% is taken by pile and 20% by RAM. But again, we have revised it. We got it actually later on 60-40, so 60 taken by pile and 40 taken by the RAM. So NPCIL took me to the site visit also. This is really massive. You see such kind of a reinforcement of nuclear building 1, and this side is nuclear building 2, which is yet to be reinforced for the RAF. That time when I visited last year in April. So that is nuclear building 1, where piles are already constructed and raft is getting. So this is on CPRF, the first time such mega structure in India is coming, and this is nuclear building 2, where piles are constructed and things are moving in that direction. So with this, I thank you all for coming to the presentation. And a quick advertisement, we have Indian Geotechnical Journals published by Springer. It is a well SCIE listed, Scopus Index, impact factor we have 1.4 and 5-year impact 1.6. I urge many of the practicing engineers present over here, because don't think journal is only for academia. It is also for practicing engineers, because journal has a high longevity, what we call that archival value. So please submit your best projects to this journal. We always encourage the case studies to publish. Currently I am editor-in-chief of this journal since last 2.5 years. We are trying to improve the visibility of our Indian mega projects coming in this journal, and you can also publish in that. Thank you so much. Namaskar.
Hello, IBC Maharashtra chapter warmly welcomes our Honorable Secretary, Mr. Nagabaje sir, and CE sir, Mr. Mane sahib. And now, Sri Professor Dipanta Chaudhary sir has given a very nice lecture on foundations, what problems are arised in foundation, and one question sir I want to ask you. In northeast countries, why there is a huge settlement and all the bridges and roads are washed out? So why there is huge settlement?
Okay, I think there is no single words which can be useful to answer this one. Because settlement can cause, and you are talking about large settlement or large disbursement. We call large disbursement problem. So northeast, if you refer, mostly they are induced by the landslide and other things. Okay, so if landslide occurs where your houses or buildings are constructed, obviously there will be large disbursement, large settlement, in addition to whatever the settlement you have designed your structure for, the gravity load or earthquake load or wind load, the corresponding settlement, it will get added up to that kind of large settlement, and those are the additional problem. I am not touching in that, but yeah, that is one of the major reason I see.
Recently in Uttarakhand, due to heavy rains, cloud burst, whole mountains and roads and bridges were collapsed.
I think, yeah, that is also very valid. I think that needs proper planning, and there are many other factors involved, sustainability, that is we should not plan anything and anywhere. without knowing its geological condition, without knowing its climatic condition, without knowing its future requirement, and also the increased number of population, usage, etc. I think planning part itself, many of these, I will say later on, disasters can be captured. That's what we try to address in our Committee of Disaster Management also. Thank you very much, sir.
About your committee, expert review committee of disaster management and director. BMC has mandated now that geotechnical engineer signature is mandatory. I was also part of recently appointed High Court committee where we gave submitted report of tower crane. We insisted that he should be licensed safety officer. So geotechnical signature is mandatory nowadays, but then he is not licensed yet. So we should actually force planning authorities to license the geotechnical engineer so that responsibility will be more on him.
You are very correct. Actually, yesterday only we had our high-rise committee site visit. That's why I came yesterday very late night around 10:30.
Shashank was part of my committee also.
Yeah, exactly. So Shashank is taking care of architecture part. So we asked the BMC what happened about the licensing part. As you are very right, office order is already there, recognizing geotechnical engineer, but the licensing will come once the requirement of the expertise of the geotechnical is put in place. So again, they put the ball on my court. They said, sir, you frame, okay, these are the minimum requirement of an expertise. Like, if you recall, just about 2 months back, we got another new IS code. What are the qualification required for a geotechnical engineer to handle what projects? So there, everything is mentioned, 15 meter and above, what qualification? Like BE Civil with expertise in geotechnical engineering masters. Or with that, we have given experience of 5 years. So for high-rise, what we are discussing among like various committee members, etc., we will put little extra because high-rise is more important. They should have done a similar project of significantly tall building, not maybe 120 meter and above. So they should be having more than 10 or 15 years of experience with the handling such kind of project. So these are the formulation required. Until and unless we give this, licensing part will be difficult. Then everybody will come and license. That is not the idea, right? We have to license only the competent geotechnical engineer. So to find out competent, they want what are the guidelines to be given. It's good that IS code just came out. I was happy to be part of this again. So we want to implement some of those in the our BMC guideline. Not only geotechnical, another MEP also. We now actually authorize this, and that also licensing part will come. Thank you.
Now I request Dr. Soni for the letter of women statement.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to share my views, not only technical, but maybe non-technical today also. So this will be technical, but some non-technical issues also. Viksit Bharat 2047, Vision, Challenges and Roadmap for Infrastructure Development. I am KM Soni, IBC member. This Viksit Bharat has two words, Viksit and Bharat. And Viksit means we know development, but where are we today? We are talking about a Viksit 2047 compared to developed countries. So where the developed countries will be in 2047, we are comparing with those development or development of today in 2047. There is a difference. Then Bharat we know, but what we are talking is Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai. Why we are only in these 3-4 cities? We are not still going towards the Bharat, so we need Viksit Bharat for all the places. So that is important. The next, what is the vision? Government of India has given the vision, empowering India through holistic development for a brighter, inclusive future by 2047. It says India. It is basically not only for limited cities or urban cities, it is for the entire Bharat. But where would we be the developed places by 2046? We are not comparing immediately for the 2047 developed countries, but we have to see where they will be. So we also get we are up. Are we planning to achieve today's level of development of the developed nations, or predicted as of 2047 that we are to decide? Holistic development, when we say that there are 8 pillars as per the Government of India: economic transformation, digital empowerment, social inclusion, education and skill development, healthcare for all, infrastructure and growth, sustainable development, energy, governance and citizen participation. Now, governance and citizen participation is also very important. So, see, the administrator and politician will be there, so that is also important. Now, if we see, look all these, then infrastructure is still important for all 7 pillars. It's not only the infrastructure for one of the pillars, but for all 8 of the pillars, 7. So this is for all. Now, so what we are talking is physical infrastructure development, economic development from physical infrastructure development. Once we develop physical infrastructure, economic development will automatically be there. Then technology upgradation. So what we are saying is that once we develop the infrastructure for that 2047, then we need technology upgradation also simultaneously. Technology, when we say, it is not all related to only civil engineering. It is related to other engineering also, maybe IT, maybe mechanical, maybe electrical. Sustainability, everybody is talking. Global issues we are talking, but we are to also look to the local issues. Earlier in India, suppose we were having ponds, lakes, valleys and all those things. We are going for the development and we have built up all those things. So we are saying that local issues are also important. Then quality of life, somebody has talked, but quality of life is also related to quality of infrastructure. So we will be talking about quality of life improvement, but related to quality of infrastructure also. Social empowerment, tradition and cultural development, and honesty and integrity. I have kept this honesty and integrity in the last, but I would like to discuss in the first. That is important for all the development. Bharat is the land of Lord Ram, Krishna, Buddha, Mahavir, Nalak. And we say that there are 4 forces: Dharma, Arth, Kam and Moksha. Now, Dharma is righteousness. Now, when we talk about this, he was talking about what in Northeast, some structures are failing. Somebody is saying that in India, encroachment is there. Professor Chandra was saying somebody is doing encroachment on the road. He is here in Delhi also, there he may be very rich, but he is still doing the encroachment. So, righteousness, right from the beginning, from where? R&D, then teaching, then consultancy, then investigation. Professor Chandra was saying about the new technical investigation, preparation of DPR consultant, contractor selection, engineer selection, persons who is the right person, and then construction, and then maintenance. We don't do the maintenance, then right maintenance is not there. So this is first important thing is there for Viksit Bharat, that its righteousness should be in every field. Art means paisa, money. So economy and economic development, where from this money will come. Then calm. Calm is also very important. But once 2 has been done, then control and relax. I am greedy. I need money. I don't know what is the development you are doing. Somebody may be corruption, somebody may be the encroachment, somebody may be something else, or मेरा दोस्त का काम कर दो, मेरे family का काम कर दो, and all that. And then the moksha. Moksha is ultimate goal. If you want Viksit Bharat, then ultimate goal is my Viksit Bharat. So we need all these 3: dharma, art, and calm. These are the pillars, and these are based on the honesty and integrity. Let me tell you. हम कहते हैं हमेशा सबकी हमेशा होती है और झूठ बोलना पाप है, नदी किनारे सांप है, बाबा आएंगे, गलत आगे ले जाएंगे, ये करते हैं, not implement. We know. So this is to be implemented. If we really want to be developed, then this is to be implemented. So that is important. So all 3-4 will be implemented, but there is a challenge for all this. This is not so easy. Saying is easy, but actually there are so many things. See the things what where we are. We are talking about 2047 that will be Viksit. Yes, but where are we? We are on the road. Maybe few, but there are many. We say that there are many. Few will be very good, but we are not adopting. So once you see new roads, old roads. See the railways, कोई पत्थर मार करके नीचे फेंक रहा है पब्लिक, and इसे टपकता है पानी जो है in the compartment, inside the compartment. We have the poor quality of platforms. See the construction how it is done, and you see that this metro, this local train in Mumbai, and you see the bridges. This is the today, and you see how we are doing. We have capability, but some people are doing, not many. So this we don't want. See the same sewerage system. Go to small places, small villages, small towns. What is this? There is no sewerage system in an entire town in India, and we are talking about the Viksit Bharat. We are doing the sewerage system first. See then. You see how see in the stormwater drain you will find even in Delhi that sewage is coming. From where it is coming? It is not the matter, but why it is coming, that is important. And the drainage, there is poor drainage. We were taught in the graduation courses that roads should not be designed or planned without drainage. But nowadays they say road bana do, estimate of provision. There is no provision of drainage in the estimates we will not construct. Somebody will not. So this is the status. Delhi itself. This is the bridge. This is not the road. You can see. And it's not all, but there are many good roads. So there are few. We have to switch over on this. We have good railways now. We have to switch over here, entire Bharat. We have to switch over good bridges if we have constructed. But they are not everywhere. So that this we have to take to the lower, to the places where we are not doing. Let's talk about economic development. Challenges are there. One challenge is the black money. Everybody wants 3 days there that money should come. I don't know. कुछ नहीं मुझे मालूम मेरे को इतना percentage चाहिए or whatever it is. So that way we will not be Viksit. Wastage. We are doing so much wastage. 3 दिन 2 दिन से इतनी bottles पानी की बोतल भर गई है. We are doing so much wastage. We are going away from the savings concept and conservation concept. Earlier we were doing savings and conservation. We are not going today. There is no satisfaction. See, our tradition says, Bharat says satisfaction होनी चाहिए हमको, but there is no satisfaction. And social service charity करते थे पहले. So nowadays we are moving away from there. Now everything use and throw. Now that we are policy, our policy is switching over to use and throw. Earlier was conservation. What is happening? See, no, Indian corporates spend rupees about 35,000 crore in 2023-24, 34,000 crore, 35,000 में 100 करोड़ का यदि जो है एक जगह यदि टाउन में जो है सीवरेज सिस्टम शुरू हो सकता है तो मेरे तो जो है 35-350 हो जाते हैं, लेकिन नहीं, there we are not. Our priorities are different. Challenges. You came empty-handed and you will leave empty-handed. Everybody knows. But मेरी तो जेब भरी होनी चाहिए. So that is the problem, and this is not only in government or private. Everywhere it is going. So that is the problem, major problem. See, if I am to गर्मियों में दिल्ली में लोग बाग जो है 18 डिग्री में AC चलाते हैं and कोट सूट पहन के आना है, and then they will say that energy conservation की बात कर रहे हैं तो हम ही लोग. Then where is the energy conservation? Food wastage, water wastage. See, so we are to minimize the wastage. Rather we should go for zero wastage if we want to Viksit Bharat. There is no force more potent in the modern world than is to be fueled by the greed. See, if we are creating poor quality infrastructure, then there is no substitute. If we are doing poor planning or bad planning, there is no substitute. So these two who are planning, whether it is in design, it is in planning, they are estimating, whatever are in testing, material testing, then there is no substitute for that, and then there is no substitute for the poor quality work, whether we talk about the rehabilitation or retrofitting. And we are digital. We don't want so bhara hua hai sab kuch hai. Quality. What quality we are talking? We mean improvement of overall quality of life, improvement of quality of existing and new structure. At least we should first know for new structure that we do all the quality work. Quality of governance, this is very important. Quality of governance is more important simultaneously with quality of infrastructure. Then dedication, honesty, integrity. We have already talked quality in construction, maintenance. Maintenance is very poor in the country. We don't maintain. We say that maintenance free structures should be there. But whenever it comes to the maintenance, we say there is no budget, and maintenance we don't do it even with the budget. Quality integration in engineers, contractors, not only between engineers, even contractors, vendors, administrators, society, and all other stakeholders, such as public leaders. So I am talking that quality of life is to be inculcated, quality is to be inculcated in every field. Then, what is the final goal? Final goal, this is what we are talking, that final goal is this, that ultimately we are to achieve the Viksit Bharat. Then innovation. Innovation is must when we say that because Viksit is going, Viksit is not fixed definition, it will change. So it is to be accepted by all, and it is to be adopted at the earliest. Innovation in everywhere in the technology, what we are doing. अभी self compensation concrete की बात करें, Professor Tandon, we are not adopting. Material is available. Why? Because that will not be cheaper. So let somebody else go inside and do the work. That is the problem, that we are not adopting innovation in our engineering. Budget कहाँ से आएगा, पैसा कहाँ से आएगा? Government, private, domestic, international loans, FDI and bonds. We have already talked. And then economic growth and improvement. So economic growth development कहाँ से आएगा? First we are to develop the infrastructure. Simultaneously we are to develop the industry, manufacturing and other industries like IT. We are getting the money. Then money will come for development of the infrastructure. Scale of the infrastructure development. In 2047, India's population will be roughly 164 crores. So, this has to be utilized as a resource. If we are to develop this infrastructure for 164 crores, then we need additional land. From where this additional land will come? There is a problem. So, this we have to look. Land is going to be very scarce item, and not only for the buildings, but also for other requirements. Multi-story building, as we talked, it is important. It has to go to small places, and now we are talking only in metro cities. Here is a must. Mumbai, as we say, is a must. So, but even in Delhi, we are coming on to multi-story construction, or even other places we are going, and also we have to go for a smaller place. So, we should have a master plan, not only of the cities, but entire country probably, where we are going to have this type of buildings, otherwise we will not get the land in 2047. Infrastructure development, cities and rural connectivity. Now, it's not that cities are to be done. We should develop rural areas as cities. That is important, urban areas. Otherwise, if we are only expanding the cities like Delhi Metro, Delhi or Mumbai or Chennai, it is not sufficient. So for 2047, we will have to develop the rural areas as urban centers.
I require the student to complete.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, we have to look for the climate change, man-made disasters, natural disasters like earthquakes, cyclones, solid waste management, environment, green energy, health being, air pollution, quality and sustainability. So, and another thing is that we should change the minimum concept. It's not that we always say that this should be the minimum. Now we should have the concept that optimum, that I require this much. Suppose for this lift, I require the SCC, for other, I can go for giant concrete. So we have to change the code and our practices in a specific sense. And we should make the mandatory construction, whether it is, we should not have non-engineering structures now, we should have make mandatory that all the structures will be made in Viksit Bharat as disaster-free structures. And then we have to look for them also. This is also, so Viksit Bharat will require smart Indian cities, smart energy, green energy, smart governance, corruption-free governance, smart utility services, 24 by 7 running without break, smart transport, integrated with comfortable public transport, integrating IoT, IT and AI, making use of robotics, quantum computing, real-time observation, monitoring, communication, by-wide enrichment, slums, unauthorized and safe construction, check of population bursting, multi-tiered infrastructure, smart Bharat. Quality of the integrated. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Soni, for this nice presentation. Now I request for the next presentation by Dr. Muthayala R. Pakas, Director Institute Development Planners.
Prakash, slides. Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Prakash. I hold a PG diploma from SET Ahmedabad, then PhD from IIM Ahmedabad. I have been associated with IBC since 1997, and several papers I have written, including a book. And this paper, this communication came to send the abstract by IBC. Normally I will do it perfectly before the time I sent it. Then I thought that my paper was not included, but since I suddenly told that from IBC that your paper is included, you have to write the paper, not included, you have to write the paper. I don't take much time because the deadline is 30th September or something like that. Or 30th July, some deadline is. He told anyone you have to do it. He gave me 3 days time. Then I was puzzled. The topic is a need for technology and innovation excellence with reference to national water supply management and Viksit Bharat 2047 infrastructure development. This topic calls for 22 years vision. 22 years was the planning. I will do it within 3 days. That is the paper I have to write. I was compressed. I was in the puzzle. And since some come in a okay. The question came into the mind that my institute, Institute of Development Planners and Research in India, we are not accepting any donations from private or government organizations. It is self-financed by the members. And I have already started working on the National Water Supply Management since the last 6 months. I have been working on that. I estimate the volume when it is completed, maybe after 2 years, 3 years, it will be something like 1,000 to 1,500 pages, plus a lot of chapters, like if I run into 50 chapters, 60 chapters. Now I am coming to the directly point. I was the Chief Executive Director of Gujarat Industrial Development Corporation. Then I was also Vice President of Hydrogen Company in Ahmedabad and working on electrolyzers. In GIDC, we have an industrial estate by name Ankaleshwar. There I was a planner to the organization. The question came up about water supply to the highly consuming industrial units. Ankaleshwar is water-based industries in Ankaleshwar. So we were puzzled how many ESR we can construct elevated surface reservoirs and its capacity. So that is a puzzle that we have solved it, that we will go for surface reservoir. So in Ankaleshwar, perhaps I don't know whether in the country it is a unique or the first one. We have a huge surface water supply reservoir. We draw the water from rivers. Then the water is then pumped into the various industrial units. Once the reservoir is coming half empty or something like that, then again we'll pump from the river. So river is not directly connected. Similar to the hypothesis, when we talk about linking the rivers in India, I always get a puzzle and a little bit of a laugh and a joke also. How it could be possible? Then I surveyed the literature. Professor Alaj has written economist something about that and the quarterly literature surveys. I searched for the blueprint if there is anything that rivers can be connected. The major puzzle is that our rivers are not normal. Suppose Brahmaputra is having the floods and the rising, and other rivers are quite calm. When Godavari is rising, other rivers are calm. So now we are talking about the linking the rivers, and it is a national concept. Then how everybody can link it? That is my puzzle, and I never got an answer for myself. Somewhere else, some researchers must be doing or some government agency must be doing it. Linking the physical rivers of all over India. In that context I am coming into it, I have innovated a heuristic model, which I will be coming in the end of these slides. Maybe only 8 slides, not to worry about it. When the time is at about over 3 minutes before 12, I will stop it because I will not overshoot my allocated time. Thank you. So from the linking of the rivers, when I am not convinced that it is going to be possible, because since independence we are talking about the river linkages, nothing has happened so far. And we have got only 22 years that we are achieving something for Viksit Bharat. Today our people are suffering with the water supply. So many villages are going dry. And animals are also not having sufficient water to drink. And these numbers are going to increase more. So what is important and very, very significant point is that whether we are able to give water supply, drinking water supply to the human first, then animals, to almost every village. And if we wanted to do that, what should be the model? It's not the literature. It is not the kind of slogans. It is not a kind of emotional thing. But practically, what are we going to do? Then I was looking at literature on holy river Ganga, Lord Shiva, then King Bharat, and his tribe. And in that King Bharat brought the from heaven, Ganga, and it is flowing into the hair of Shiva to reduce the speed of Ganga to the earth, and that is story. And it is called Bhagirath Prayatna. And in day-to-day life, also we use that it is Bhagirath Prayatna, he is attempting it. So then I was just looking into the whole system and I read the literature. And the engineers say that it is a dam. It is not from the heaven, because it is mythologically correct, but practically it is a dam. Are we using the optimal river Ganga? My answer is definitely no, and everybody gets convinced. And I don't know the exact proportion, it is a mathematical equation, how much of the water is wasted from Ganga and it drained into the sea or drained into other places. And history of the major rivers are there, like Narmada, 50 billions old, and so many stories are about all our the rivers. That's all excellent. But the question comes that, are we going to link it up physically? So no planner, special planner or engineer can give a solution for it. How physically connected these rivers? So then I was examining some of the national missions. Our beloved Prime Minister Vajpayee was very much keen about this issue about solving the water supply. And in his own way, he has given some of the points. which I have elaborated in my paper in my own words, and which I will appropriately as well. There is a national river linkage project. He talked about it. Water conservation, addressing the water, groundwater depletion, focus on basic needs, improving sewage and community environment, innovative ideas, in identification of water supply units and the concept of regional water supply. So these are the points. So I focus on the number one, where I am going to explain. Then National River Water Linking Project means river water linking project means directly or indirectly we have to bite the bullet, which means every Indian in every organization, everybody in the country have to work very hard in coming 22 years if you want to achieve it. It's not an easy task. It is more than Bharat. Bharat is not going to come back again. But some of us are going to become multiple Bhagirats to do this job. Then national spirit is the thing which I talked about, when political will needed. And the GDP allocation, invariably critical, because without water, countries are going to perish. They are going to be deserted. And without water, many ecological disharmony will happen. Before that, are we going to do something? So GDP allocation is going to be very important from our annual plans. They have to give for this profit. That technological engineering model is there in our country, and we have got a lot of engineers. So, what I have been listening to the experts, we have got excellent, whether it is a Burj Khalifa, it is a hut, or any other thing. We have got an excellent engineering, no doubt about it. And we have the manpower also. Then, government and the state government, central government commitment is also necessary, because both of them are going to work in bosom to bosom. If this innovative idea, which I am going to tell you in a few seconds, how it is going to be conceived by me, and whether it will be supported by the state government, central government, it is to be seen. This is a model. Take a little bit of look at it. Linking rivers versus creation of water supply endowment network. So I have just not agreed to the linking of the physical rivers of any kind, one river or two rivers, because where we have linked, there was a lot of ecological problems happened in Andhra Pradesh. I am not going to the topic, it is a topic. I am not going to go into it. Then, according to the concept, there will be a grid system, another is endowment system. Grid system is a smaller in scale, more sophisticated, more capital intensive. Something is happening in European countries and in Australia. I have given my paper a little bit of, I am not going to go into details. Then, I am supporting a strong point about endowment, which previous, our past Prime Minister Vajpayee was also talking about endowment system. Endowment system is very simple. Like in Ankleshwar, we had ESR. Endowment is nothing but the same ESR. Not the surface reservoir, not ESR, surface reservoir. So this is a collection of river water by taking where on that and bringing it to the unit. And this endowment can be anywhere, not necessarily next to the river. You keep it up anywhere in the distance, in a given land and the availability land or the barren land. That is going to be easier task. We are not going to find the private lands. Only. And this endowment is not only the river water, even in the other sources of water like well water and the falls and low water and also runoff water, and everything can come to the endowment. Okay, this structure, and I am not going to talk because it is a technical subject. I mean, it is conceiving an interactive stage. What should be its length and width of the reservoir? In the numbers also, I am not gambling. It could be 5,000 endowments in India, or it could be 10,000, or any number. Still, I have not gone into those details. How many endowments will be required? Endowment is a simple collection of the water in the country, in the various locations. Then they are being connected with a heuristic model which I have given here is a EIJ. Endowment, I is the input is the water tank. That is 1, 2, 3, or I have not given number because I do not know how many numbers are J is that the outflow of the endowment to the other endowments, or it could be to the consumers. So this EIJ is the endowment matrix system. Then EIJ, when we put it in the bracket and we put it in the IJ, then it is integration. That means 5,000 endowments we are going to integrate it and we see that how it is going to look like for the country, or what is the need and what is the requirement.
I request
Sir, from the, I am
request
concluding.
Dr. Prakash to complete within 3 minutes.
I'm concluding.
Yes, conclude it by 3
I'm
minutes.
concluding.
Yes.
So these are two other equations where these endowments are going to be pumped through PVC pipes or tunnels, or where there is going to be contained in PVC. And for that one, we are using, I am recommending the electrolyzers of the 5 megawatts. So the electrolyzer is the one thing which takes the river water and splits into hydrogen and dioxide. As it goes to the hospitals, and hydrogen is the one which will be used as a fuel to the generator, electricity generator, and that will pump the endowment, the water pumping. Now connecting the water and etc. I told it's all these things I have already discussed. There is nothing to be repeated. My time is running out. So in this project, what is going to be the total frame is that there will be 5 to 10,000 endowments or more, which number is not certain. And from rivers we are drawing the water and putting to the endowments, and from that endowment is connected, and also it is connected to the consumers in various pipes, etc. Country has got mechanical engineering engines and technical power and manpower, everything is available, and technology is available. And this is not a big technology, it is the simplest and common sense thing. There is no high technology involved in it. Just have a reservoir, surface reservoir, and bring river water and put into it, again pump it to other endowments and make a network of logistics. Which is a simple thing. I think you might have got the idea, and suppose you wanted more discussion, kindly write to me, sir. And thank you, and within your time.
Thank you, Dr. Prakash, for your beautiful presentation and also to complete it within the time. Now I request architects Aditya Sunnal and Dr. Dinketa Mayurata from Gautam Buddha University.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Arif Sania. I am pursuing PhD from Gautam Buddha University, Greater Noida. And my topic of presentation is innovative facade material redefining thermal comfort in residential buildings. So coming to the content of the presentation, there is abstract introduction, importance of thermal comfort in residential building, innovative facade material technologies, conclusion, and then relevance. Coming to the abstract, the facade of the residential building is a pivotal for achieving the thermal comfort and energy efficiency. So, in traditional construction method, we often use highly energy consumption materials due to which poor thermal performance is necessary. There is necessity for innovative solution. So in my paper, I will give the innovative facade materials and technology so that the indoor temperature can be regulated. environmental conditions. However, if we use to address the climatic change, energy inefficiency and thermal discomfort, innovative facade systems should have gained more momentum. These materials should have advanced thermal regulation, improving insulation and ability to interrupt the external environmental stimulation, making a paradigm shift in a residential design. So, if we are using tight versus loose building envelope, the tight building envelope are very beneficial, and as it have fewer air leaks, and the functions of the building materials that it should be structurally supported, climatic control. And also here some of the components of the building envelope are given, such as foundation, walls, air, movements, acoustic, durability and energy. Then coming to the what is the thermal comfort in a residential building. Thermal comfort is a state of mind which have the satisfaction with the surrounding, which includes the factors such as temperature, humidity, radiant temperature, clothing. As you can see that in H8 55, the thermal comfort is defined as the satisfaction of thermal environment. In this graph, you can see the green part is comfortable area, which includes 20 to 22 to 24 degrees Celsius, and with the air speed of 0.2 to 0.8 meter per second. And so, if this in the graph, if we got the optimal temperature and the air speed inside the building, so it can be considered as thermal comfort for a residential building. So some of the innovative facade and technologies, as you can see, are number one is space change material, second is smart glass, electronic and thermochromatic. So space change material is a substance which absorbs, store and release a large amount of latent heat during phase change from solid to liquid. So if we integrate it with the facade systems, the phase change material stabilize the indoor temperature by mitigating fluctuation and reducing the peak load. The studies have shown that the phase change material can reduce the cooling load up to 30% for residential buildings. Second is smart glasses, which includes electrochromatic and thermochromatics. Smart glass can adjust its transparency or reflectivity in response to external stimuli such as heat and light. As you can see in the figure, if the glasses change its color by the help of electric signals, if the temperature increases or the solar glare is increases, the glass changes from transparent to translucent, which improve the thermal comfort without sacrificing the daylight. Then we can use double skin or ventilated facade. In double skin consists of a two layer of facade material separate with the air cavity. The cavity can be naturally or mechanically ventilated. So this creates a thermal buffer to reduce the heat transfer. This system helps to regulate the indoor temperature, reducing the HVAC consumption. Then there is green facade and living walls. Green facade is very beneficial for vegetation, which can be used on vertical surfaces. So this includes provide natural insulation and shading, and also reduce the surface temperature, and also it improves the air quality. So it is also mitigate the urban heat island effect and also enhances the aesthetic appeal of the building. So green facade and living walls can be used in high-rise building also and residential building also. Then some more materials are bio-composite panels and natural insulating materials. So emerging the bio-based materials such as hempcrete, composite laminate, composite material, straw panels offers a good convenient facade, and it also is a extra provides excellent thermal insulation, and it provides low imported energy and ideal for sustainable residential constructions. In the diagram you can see these are the biocomposite panels, and this in the table you can see composite
to use wallet insulation, and also the hand grip can be incorporated. It is generally a soft cork materials which is incorporated with the hand UPP tapes, and also it can be embedded in the basset wood. So these three types of material can be used as the insulating material, and these are natural insulating materials. Comparing some of the material by the thermal performance, as you can see, brick, PCM embedded materials, and electrochromatic glass, green facade, and hand grip panels. So as you can see, I have compared thermal conductivity, dynamic thermal behavior, and energy saving potential. So in this, we can see that phase change material embedded panel has very low thermal conductivity of 0.2, and the dynamic thermal behavior is very high, and energy saving potential is also high. So I recommend to use phase change material for the thermal insulation. So I have done some case studies. I have given some case studies for the presentation to support my concept. The first is the Viksit building in Melbourne, Australia. So they have, this project has targeted for zero emissions, and it has water balance. It has highest green rating of this design rating. Also it contains highest LEED and green rating. As you can see the elevation of the figure, they are the 3D concrete panels which are aligned in such a way that indirect daylighting can be incorporated inside the building. So some of the design technologies of these buildings are innovative facade system, water cycle, water reuse and water treatment, heating strategies, cooling strategies. They have used the water for the heating and cooling strategies, and also mechanical ventilation. For external shading, minimize the solar thermal heat, they have used the 3D concrete panels. They have used the solar cells, and also some grey water from the shower and sink are being utilized for the vegetation in the edge of the building. Second building is BASF house in Germany. So it has a very good thermal insulation composite panel based on EPS. EPS is expanded polyester. So this is the excellent thermal insulation properties, as it improves the thermal insulation of the outer wall, thereby reducing the consumption and GHG emissions. Insulation material plays a big role in climate changing and saving the heating and cooling energy in the building. So they have compared that existing detached house in Germany work with the lab as representing the weight of the non-refurbished, and second is already refurbished. So they have found that if we are using this insulation material, the GHG emission of CO2 is reduced highly when we are using a building material. Comparing both the buildings, as you can see, the sustainable certification of the first building is 105 green star rating by LEED Platinum, and second is in the Germany. So they have the Germany engineering efficiency standard and passive house. And also comparing the energy source, the Viksit building has 100% renewable energy. They rely on solar, wind and biogas, and our BASF building has the combination of solar, thermal PV and thermal recovery and heat recovery. Energy performance, the Viksit building is net zero energy and carbon neutral, and BASF building in Germany has up to 85% reduction in energy consumption as compared to the standards. In facade innovation, they use 3D concrete panel with integrated sun shading and insulation, and also in this building they have multi-layer facade system for thermal buffering. The ventilation they use for natural ventilation and smart windows plus CO2, and they use the mechanical ventilation with heat recovery. The smart building features, they have material, energy efficient material, environmentally responsive material, stability and occupant well-being. So as a urban environment continues to evolve, the intelligent use of facade technologies will be central to building the residence comfortable for house of tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sharma.
Come to slide number 6.
Now, this is the time for interaction, and we may take maybe 3-4 questions. First, I request who will ask the question, they may introduce and directly ask the question to the author.
Slide number 6 था ना आपका? आपका एक slide number 6 था, इसमें WWR ratio आप recommend करेंगे क्या? You've spoken about the green facades and it was actually double skin filter. 6 इससे पहला ये 8 है, इससे पहले 7, इससे पहले थोड़ा और ऊपर आपने इसमें हमें बताया ना सारा ग्लास का फेस चेंज मटेरियल का कलर चेंज हो जाता है, तो WWR रेशियोज आपने इसका कुछ मतलब वर्किंग करा है?
You are asking about the wastage material.
हाँ मतलब ग्लास की बात करें, अगर हम ग्लास की बात करें तो एक हमारा WWR रेशियो आता है, उसके लिए मैं पूछ रहा हूँ इसमें आप क्या रिकमेंड करें और क्या उसमें?
So this is the smart glass for electrochromatic and thermal. So this changes from transparent to translucent. तो इसमें WWR ratio की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी. इसको आप internal wall, external wall दोनों जगह apply कर सकते हैं. It only blocks the excessive sunlight, and if the temperature is high, it will automatically convert from transparent to translucent.
तो ये हम ग्लास के मटेरियल को हम करें ना, मतलब WWR normally like we have to decide about what shall be the ratio. जैसे अभी हम इस हॉल में देख रहे हैं, तो कितना हमारा glazing है, कितना हमारा वॉल है, उसका तो that matters. तो आप थोड़ा मतलब because change of material or change of glass is like actually implementation of material. तो थोड़ा उसमें ना we can like because Indian environment ऐसा ही है कि जितना
Just my name is Brigadier Sunil Gowda. I just wanted to add a little bit on that thing and ask one more question to Mr. Sunil. Actually, our theme is today is the Viksit Bharat and the infrastructure development no doubt. Whenever we see or say Viksit Bharat or development of average Indian thinks about the development of the roads, development of the buildings, average Indian. Not with the flashy scenes and everything of the city. But then today, as on date, and last couple of years, I've been also connected to being a chief engineer of the army and the police. Whenever we construct a road, half of the India is running on the half of the roads. Last 10 or 15 years, it's just like that. Half of the India is running on half of the roads. You go anywhere, generally, I'm just saying, half the road is dug up, or the new construction, or the PQC is going on, or the construction, everywhere it is going on. So that factor has to be taken into account in the planner and other thing. Otherwise, it will be very difficult. And second thing is the coordination of it. Today we construct the road. Next morning they are cutting up the roads in colonies, in the main road, and so many places. So this point has to be taken into our planners or our putting up into that thing. How do we put it? It's not an easy solution because ultimately someone coordination is very important in that thing, and that is missing in all the municipal corporations, in the interiors. Nagar Parishad are intensively working into the interiors of the Maharashtra, especially in the 11 districts of the Vidarbha. Nowhere someone has shown that photograph in which the drainage is, and that's a fact. We should leave outside the cities, Bombay, Pune, Ahmedabad, and all that thing. Facilities are available to a reasonable content in the level. So this factor has to be taken into account while framing the certain guidelines which we are being putting up to the urban ministry. Now, second question is on the same thing on that thing also. You have mentioned the 4 good shards because slightly I thank you very much for that thing because you have taken the crowd who was completely immersed into the mobile or away from the technicalities because continuous growth है आपने थोड़ा cover कर लिया. In which after the 4 good shards in case we have to leave the country into the 2047 में समन्वयता and समाधान. These are also very important. Without that, it will be very difficult. So that is a Samanvayata means coordination and Samananda means satisfaction of the no-grid. Somewhere covered also. So these 2 points I wanted to add. And the previous and I could not get time. One factor, I am from the Nagpur and someone has mentioned about the second capital of the India. So the India's second capital is a old concept also. Even during British, when the capital was being shifted in 1911 from the Calcutta towards the Delhi or into the central part of India. There were 2 proposals, both for the Nagpur as well as the Jabalpur, and even the factories and the other things were already laid accordingly. And there was an old committee, एक समिति थी भारत में, जिसका नाम था नागपुर को भारत की राजधानी बनाओ समिति और उसका हेडक्वार्टर छोटा सा ऑफिस was in Shimla. I visited that particular building. It is in the Shimla that today. So ये भी एक factor था second capital, although that is a political issue and it will be taken into account. And what we are saying, the last battle of the Nagpur का थोड़ा सा मैंने कहा कि थोड़ा सा crowd को बताना चाहिए. The last battle of the Shivaji Maharaj का जो एक था Bhima Koregaon which is near the Pune. But prior to that thing, the last battle was fought Nagpur के जो भोसले राजा थे, they were also the cousins of the Shivaji Maharaj, very close by near the Kastujan Park. It keeps coming into that. That particular place, the Bhoslas of the Nagpur, they were undefeated. They are, उन्होंने टाइट कर रखा था पूरा ब्रिटिश लोगों को and ultimately on the 25th and 26th November 1888 was the last battle which was fought near the Reserve Bank of India or near the railway station. So I wanted to add on that thing also. Thank you very much.
Hello. I'll tell my experience. What happened that in Mumbai I have seen that suppose you are cutting the road. You have to do the trench cutting or whatever you have to. And the municipal corporation will be there. So they will give the authorization or they will do themselves. You have to deposit the money with the authority and they will do their. So it's not coordination between 2 agencies. Rather they say that whosoever the agency is responsible, they will do the work. You have to deposit the money with them. They will get the estimate and all that. Like electricity department is already doing that, suppose you have to do the shifting of the poles, then you can't do it, they will do it. So, but this is successful somewhere, this is not successful that much somewhere, I agree. Because, but better that one agency is responsible for all the matters, that is one. Second, coordination, yes, coordination is very important. Coordination to घर में भी होगा नहीं होगा तो मियाँ बीवी की लड़ाई होगी. As it is between the engineers also, it is between the administrators, politicians, and the government servant and private people also. There is no coordination. The things can't go as should go. So that I agree. Coordination is very important, particularly in our country, because everybody feels that I am the alpha. So everybody feels that he or she is the alpha, so there is a problem. So naturally coordination is important and we have to give responsibility to some particular person or particular authority. That is important.
May I ask a question to Professor Dipankar Chaudhary? Excellent lecture. I have 2 questions. Number 1, you talked about the pie draft. 2 things there. One, I think in court you mentioned about a permissible settlement of 125 mm. My question is, what is the basis of 125? Why not 150? And should it not be performance-based? Every building may not have the same permissible requirement for settlement. Second, whether this solution of pie draft suitable for a situation where you have liquefied soil in the top zone, let's say.
Yeah, so thanks for your questions. Actually, the first first answer is why 125. As I mentioned in the presentation, I myself personally don't want to keep any such limit on the total settlement. So this came, you can say it is ad hoc. It came from another code, 16700, which is a tall building code, where we have given 125 mm as the permissible settlement. So it should be actually, so in the code we have mentioned it is based on the serviceability approach, not on the total settlement. You are very right. So if you want my opinion, I would like to remove that sentence or number 125. Okay. For me, 1 by 500 is more sacrosanct. That is needed. The torsional rotational displacement or distortion, that is what has to be maintained, and rest of the thing has to be left to the serviceability aspect. The second point, what you asked, that also probably I was not able to convey clearly. We mentioned that where pilot cannot be used. One such example is what you rightly said, because below the raft, if we have a very soft soil or liquefiable soil or standing water, so like jetty structure, etc., you cannot call it pilot. It has to be pile group with a pile cap. Another aspect we mentioned, below the raft, whatever soil modulus, it can be also shear modulus, whatever strength modulus you have versus the below pile deep, whatever modulus, the ratio between the two should not be more than 9. What does it mean? Because if it is more, your entire load of the structure will go to the pile itself, nothing will be shared by a raft, then you cannot call it as a piler, it will be so-called pile foundation with pile cap. So that condition also has been mentioned. So these are the few conditions where pile cap cannot be. We are very right.
सर पहले पूछेंगे सर आप पहले पूछो
मैं पूछूं the person who has the mic has the platform, that is the thing. So thank you. No need to say what a fantastic presentation it was, and it was good to learn that you come up with a code on pile ground foundation. Thank you very much. My question, or rather I want to discuss with you, you said that you have got some kind of a registration for geotechnical engineers. There are registrations for structural engineers also. We've got it in Delhi also. But you know, all this, and Karnataka state has actually got an engineer's bill passed for the state of Karnataka. There is another one in Gujarat, which was done about 10 years ago and has gone nowhere. You can have this type of a thing recognized and implemented only if it goes to the Parliament of India. Unless you have an act of Parliament, all this is some local thing here and there, that's all. So that is what you should attempt for. But I want to tell you that wherever we did have an opportunity, like for example in the National Building Code of India, it tells you that the geotechnical engineer's signature is essential before anything is approved. So we are attacking it from all sides. But really speaking, you have to come up with something where we can get a bill passed through the Parliament. And with so much of confusion that is there in the Parliament, one can hardly hear what is being said or done, and bills are passed. And in all this, I'm sure there are some other professionals who are trying to get a bill passed where they want to be the kings of built environment. I will not name that profession, but you know who it is. And everybody, all the other consultants are working for them. So we are worried that that bill should not get passed, because since they could not get it passed, they are now trying this route as an amendment to the Architects Act.
Sorry, I mentioned your So there is an act which does not define what are architectural services. So they've lost the cases all through. Whenever they said that it means that all the disciplines should come under us. They've lost all that. Now they are trying to say, let's get this through the parliament. That we want to make an amendment to the Architects Act which will define what are architectural services, which will say it includes not only geotechnical, structural engineering, MEP, you name it, everything is under that. So the route that they are following is really, we have learned, that is the correct route. If you want to get things done, you have to have an act to the point. So my suggestion is, since you are a part of the civil engineering profession, let's get the civil engineering or engineers bill passed to the parliament. And I think all our energies, including the Indian Building Congress, that is my appeal, that we should put our heads together and get it through.
So, sir, I think everyone agreed here what you have mentioned. That is the need of the hour. So I think architects are recognized with their registration, doctors are recognized with their registration, but unfortunately the engineers are not recognized. So that is the need of the hour, as you rightly say, and probably everywhere, small pockets it is happening, but until and unless it is happening in Parliament, I think there are many other efforts are going on at higher level, I keep hearing. So we hope that we get to see the engineers being passed. That's it.
And National Building Code is not mandatory, but all the authorities throughout India are following the National Building Code. And there the geotechnical engineer signature is there.
Also there, correct. Yes.
Great inspiration. It's a great inspiration, Dr. Tandon. And in fact, this is an eye-opener for all the veterans. Sorry, you are not a veteran, but all the veterans who have deep knowledge, who have gone to the ground, but not coming into the mainstream because of XYZ reasons. So, ladies and gentlemen, very greetings to this August assembly, and apologies for not giving my introduction earlier. So, I am Ajay Kumar Hare, an entrapped dampness management scientist with 4 product patents and 2 process patents, and a disciple of Professor Sushil Kumar Agarwal, the biggest authority in the country, living, designing at 86, given 245 IIT PhD nation. So basically, I'm on a task since 2016 on standardization of construction industry. So our tool is moisture content, that is relative residual moisture content. And now my question to the Pankaj sir. Sir, we are going for tall buildings, and the irony is that we are not able to cast the right quality concrete. It's ironical that I haven't seen a single tunnel, despite a 1200 mm section, M60, M40, not as per the standard. So, it is a scary environment when we go for more taller buildings and resting on the steel, which is under the epidemic of early distress due to corrosion-related early distress. We are not able to control the moisture. So my 3 questions. One is, should we pre-stabilize the soil before going for taller buildings? Second is, sir, are we ready, are we bold enough to adopt relative residual moisture content mandatory audit for the structures as per the BIS and international guidelines? And third, a very dangerous one, we are losing 4 to 6% of the GDP annually in India that converts to how many lakh crores. So, all the corrosion mitigation things we are doing, gimmickry we are doing in the country is bound to fail. A building of a very big builder, 20 crores invested on corrosion mitigation and it has gone waste after 5 years audit. So, are we ready to go for this relative residual moisture content? Thank you.
Thanks for your long questions, 3 questions. I understand you asked the 3 questions to Professor Tandon also, and I am not expert in the structure, concrete, this thing. So the answer to your 3 questions shortly, as Chairman mentioned. First one is yes. Second one is not knowledgeable, not in my scope of study. Third one also not in my scope of study. Thank you.
So now I conclude the session. We have heard on Viksit Bharat, and particularly the theme for the sub-theme for this was the technology and the innovation excellence. Definitely, from our invited speaker, you have heard about the innovation, particularly on a foundation, which is a pioneer foundation. It is a new kind, and you have heard about all the things about the technology using in the high-rise building. So I think we have been benefited a lot. Dr. Soni in his presentation has mentioned about the pillar, all the pillars of the Viksit Bharat, and we have to achieve all these things, we must be sensitive. All the engineers are responsible for that, and definitely we must able to have this. The second presentation by Dr. Prakash, he was given about the water management technology. Yes, water is a precious one, and for this Viksit Bharat, definitely it will also play an important role, because sometimes we say that by 2050 we will be short of water, so water management is very important. The third presentation was from the Aditya Sannal. He has mentioned about the new materials which can be used for the energy efficient in the pressure, and he has mentioned that the 30% of the temperature can be reduced. So I think all these 3 presentations, including the invited speaker presentation, we have enjoyed, and I, on behalf of the ABC, convey my heartiest thanks to all of you for your presence in this session. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Majumdar sir. We will have 2 sponsors' presentations. First is by Ultratech and second will be by Asan SAF board. These presentations will be of 5 minutes each, and after these sponsors' presentations, we will be presenting the mementos to our chairman, co-chairman, invited speakers and the authors. So kindly hold the fort for that time, and for the next technical session, we will be assembling again at 2:50 p.m. So instead of, it was supposed to begin at 2 o'clock, but we will be starting at 2:50. So that 15 minutes margin we are not taking. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. So I don't want to be a conversation between lunch and your time. Namaskar and very good afternoon to one and all. On the behalf of Ultratech Cement Company, I welcome you all for this Indian Building Congress 20th Annual Convention and National Conference on Viksit Bharat 2047 and Industrial Development. I am from Ultratech Cement and Ultratech को अलग से बताने की जरूरत नहीं है, most of the people already knows that. But माने सर जब भी हम लोग कभी सेमिनार्स में एग्जीबिशंस में स्टॉल लगाते हैं, जब स्टॉल्स पे लोग आते हैं तो लोग बोलते कि अल्ट्राटेक को सब जगह क्यों जरूरत है ये सब करने की। हम लोग बोलते कि वी आर द नंबर वन, इंडियाज नंबर वन सीमेंट कंपनी। और जब नंबर वन पे होते तो उसके बीच में काफी लोग रहते हैं, तो इसलिए हम लोग कहते हैं कि मोस्टली हम लोग लाइव रहना चाहते हैं मार्केट में, क्योंकि नजर हटी दुर्घटना घटी। तो अल्ट्राटेक इंडियाज नंबर वन कंपनी, विश्वसनीय कंपनी एंड 100% भारतीय कंपनी। एंड हमारा मानना है कि कस्टमर की जरूरतों को समझो और उसको फुलफिल करो, तब आपका प्रोडक्ट बिकता है। Our company's vision is to be the leader in building solution, and our mission is to deliver superior value to our stakeholders on 4 pillars, that is customer centricity, team involvement, of course innovation is very important, and sustainability. Ultratech सीमेंट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग करता है, जैसे हमारे पास पीपीसी, पीएससी, पीसीसी, ये सारे ग्रीन प्रोडक्ट्स। इसके अलावा भी हम लोग सर काफी सारे इनोवेटिव प्रोडक्ट्स भी मार्केट में ला रहे हैं। These are the all next generation products, जैसे कि ड्राई मिक्स, प्लास्टर्स, पैलेट एडहेसिव्स, वाटरप्रूफिंग प्रोडक्ट्स। इसके अलावा काफी सारे प्रोडक्ट्स भी हम लोग मैन्युफैक्चरिंग इसमें, और ऑल दिस प्रोडक्ट्स आर ग्रीन सर्टिफाइड प्रोडक्ट्स, इको फ्रेंडली प्रोडक्ट्स। एक और सर्विस के बारे में बताना चाहूंगा सर, ये हम लोग वी आर द पायोनियर्स सीमेंट इंडस्ट्रीज में। हम लोगों ने ऑन साइट फ्री ऑफ कॉस्टिंग सर्विस कस्टमर्स के लिए प्रोवाइड करते हैं, जिसमें हम लोग जो स्पेशली जो इंडिविजुअल हाउस बिल्डर्स होते हैं तो उसमें कॉम्प्रेसिव टेस्टिंग हम लोग उनको प्रोवाइड करते हैं, स्लम कोन टेस्ट करते हैं, सैंड क्वालिटी टेस्ट करते हैं, वाटर टेस्टिंग भी ये फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट में कस्टमर्स को हम लोग देते हैं, ताकि क्वालिटी एश्योरेंस उनके साइड में हो सके। उसके अलावा एक और इनिशिएटिव्स हम लोगों ने हमारी तरफ से लिया कि अभी कल से हम लोग काफी, मैं सुन रहा था, डिस्कशन हो रहा था सस्टेनेबिलिटी के बारे में। विदर्भ में मैं नागपुर से बिलोंग करता हूँ और नागपुर एरिया देखता हूँ। हम लोग सीमेंट मार्केटिंग टीम से टेक्निकल सर्विसेज से, तो सीमेंट का प्रमोशन के अलावा भी हम लोग एम सैंड को भी प्रमोट कर रहे हैं। जब भी कस्टमर के साइट पे विजिट करते हैं तो उन लोगों को बताते हैं कि रिवर सैंड को ना यूज करते हो, आप एम सैंड को भी यूज कीजिए, क्योंकि अभी भी लोगों के परसेप्शन ये है कि रिवर सैंड एम सैंड से क्रैश डेवलप होता है काफी सारे। तो हम लोग उनको ऑन साइट प्रपोशंस बताते हैं कि किस तरह से इसको यूज करना चाहिए, इसके डूज एंड डोंट्स, ये सारा प्रमोशंस भी हम लोग कर रहे हैं। इसके अलावा सर जैसे कि इंडिया का मिशन है कि 2070 तक हम लोग कार्बन जो है 0 कर सकेंगे, जिससे जीडीपी अराउंड 45% बढ़ सकती है, और 2030 तक 50% क्यूमुलेटिव इलेक्ट्रिक पावर जो कंजम्पशन है फ्रॉम नॉन रिन्यूएबल सोर्स ऑफ एनर्जी से हम लोग करते हैं। इसके अलावा इसमें अल्ट्राटेक पीछे नहीं है, अल्ट्राटेक भी जितने भी हमारे सीमेंट के प्लांट्स हैं हम लोग ग्रीन प्लांट्स बनाने वाले हैं, और अप टू 2050 तक हम लोगों का कमिटमेंट है कि जीसीसीए से, ग्लोबल क्लाइमेट चेंज अलायंस से, कार्बन न्यूट्रल कंप्लीट बाय अप टू 2050, और 2030 तक जितने भी हमारे प्लांट्स हैं 85% हम लोग एनर्जी मिक्स कम्स फ्रॉम रिन्यूएबल सोर्स ऑफ एनर्जी। हम लोग 75% सीमेंट जो है प्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं ग्रीन, जिसमें पीपीसी, पीएससी, पीसीसी ये सारे प्रोडक्ट्स मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कर रहे हैं। लेकिन कहीं ना कहीं हम लोग ये जो परसेंटेज है इसको थोड़ा सा हम लोग को कहीं ना कहीं बढ़ाना पड़ेगा, जिसमें मैं चाहता हूँ, क्योंकि जब भी हम लोग गवर्नमेंट डिपार्टमेंट में विजिट करते हैं तब हमको बोलते हैं कि सर पीवीसी सीमेंट क्यों नहीं यूज कर रहे हैं, या फिर साइड पे भी जाते हैं तो वो कॉन्ट्रैक्टर बोलते हैं कि नहीं हम लोग को अलाउ नहीं है, हम लोग ओपीसी कंस्ट्रक्शन करते हैं, जबकि ओपीसी मार्केट में हमारा अभी आज 75% है। हम लोग चाहते हैं कि इसको और भी आगे बढ़ाएं। तो ये सारा हम लोग इस ग्रीन जर्नी और हम लोग ये सारे एफर्ट्स हम लोग यहाँ पे सस्टेनेबिलिटी के लिए रहे हैं और हमारे इंडिया के मिशन में। वन मोर एक आपसे हैप्पी टू शेयर दैट कि 2025 का इस बार का सेंट्रल मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ मिनरल्स एंड डिपार्टमेंट की ओर से हमारा जो आवारपुर का जो प्लांट है, ये चंद्रपुर डिस्ट्रिक्ट में, यहाँ से अराउंड 200 किलोमीटर्स पे, जो हमारे नवकारी माइन से लाइमस्टोन की, वो 7 स्टार रेटिंग लाइमस्टोन का अवार्ड इस बार हम लोग को मिला है। और ये इसमें एक छोटा सा इनोवेशन मैं आपको बताना चाहूँगा। हमारे ये आवारपुर के प्लांट में 2 रिजर्वायर्स है, और सोलर प्लांट जनरली ओपन लैंड पे बनाए जाते हैं, सबको पता है। बट चैलेंज है प्लांट के इसमें कि जहाँ पे भी ओपन लैंड है वहाँ पे आपको ग्रीन वेजिटेशन करना जरूरी है। तो सोलर पैनल्स को कहीं ना कहीं लगाना प्लांट के अंदर में एक चैलेंज है। तो ये रिजर्वायर्स में 7,600 फ्लोटिंग सोलर फोटोवोल्टिक पैनल्स हम लोगों ने यहाँ पे लगाया, जिससे हम लोग 1.5 मेगावाट का कैपेसिटी का पावर प्लांट बनाया हुआ है। और ये प्लांट से दो चीजें ये हुई कि एक भी लैंड का भी सेविंग हो गया, सेकेंड आपका इवोपरेशन लॉस भी इसमें कम हो गया, डायरेक्टली सनरेज से जो भी हो रहा था। तो दिस इज वन ऑफ द इनोवेशन। और इसके अलावा एक छोटी सी हम लोगों ने लास्ट में स्लाइड बता रहा हूँ, उसके बाद खत्म करता हूँ। हम लोगों ने सर जैसे कि गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया का एक सपना है कि होम फॉर ऑल, और 23-25 के बजट में 80,000 करोड़ का शायद प्रोजेक्ट कि सबको मकान मिलना चाहिए, तो कच्चे मकान से पक्के मकान में ट्रांसफर करना। उसमें होम फॉर ऑल के अलावा बजाय मैंने उसको शब्द दिया कि ग्रीन होम फॉर ऑल। तो हम लोगों ने एक छोटा सा इनिशिएटिव लिया है। हम लोगों ने IGBC इंडियन ग्रीन बिल्डिंग सर्टिफिकेशन के साथ जो छोटे मकान है उनके लिए 2 लेवल पे हम लोग सर्टिफिकेशंस करते हैं। ये अल्ट्राटेक में प्लेटफॉर्म दिया है, जो भी आर्किटेक्ट इंजीनियर्स कॉन्ट्रैक्टर जो छोटे मकान बना रहा है, इसमें 2 सर्टिफिकेशंस लेवल है, एक है नेस्ट, दूसरा है नेस्ट प्लस। 150 स्क्वायर मीटर बिलो सैंक्शन होना चाहिए उसका, सेकेंड 300 स्क्वायर मीटर। इसमें 3 चीजें मैंडेटरी होनी चाहिए, लोकल बिल्डिंग रेगुलेशंस, वेस्ट सेग्रीगेशन का आपके यहाँ क्या प्रोविजन है, और थर्ड रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग। और ये सब पैरामीटर्स पे मैं ज्यादा इलैबोरेट नहीं करूंगा, ये सब पैरामीटर्स में जिसमें कोई भी लेवल पे आप सर्टिफिकेशंस करवा सकते हो। तो ये दिस इज फॉर IHB सेक्टर्स ओनली, नॉट फॉर द गवर्नमेंट एंड प्रोजेक्ट्स। तो ये छोटे छोटे ये है, और इस प्रकार का सर्टिफिकेशंस IGBC की तरफ से एक छोटा सा प्लेटफॉर्म हम लोगों ने जो यहाँ के लोकल्स लोग हैं जो छोटे मकान बनाते हैं, तो सस्टेनेबल होंगे कि शाश्वत मकान किस तरह से बनाने के लिए हम लोग उसको प्रवृत्त करते हैं। तो ये सर्टिफिकेशन से सिल्वर गोल्ड। अब तक महाराष्ट्र में अल्ट्राटेक ने 163 प्रोजेक्ट को रजिस्टर्ड किया है और उनको ग्रीन सर्टिफिकेशन के लिए मदद की है। सो थैंक यू ऑल, दिस इज फ्रॉम माय साइड, थैंक यू सो मच।
सर्टिफिकेशन जिनको मिल रहा है इसको फायदा क्या हो रहा है सर? इसको सर्टिफिकेशन दे दिया आपने, इसको फायदा क्या हो रहा है
सर? जो 2070 का जो मिशन है, इसमें कहीं ना कहीं कंट्रीब्यूशन सिर्फ इंडस्ट्रीज का नहीं रहना चाहिए, इसमें जुड़े जो सोसाइटी में जो लोग हैं उनसे भी कुछ ना कुछ कंट्रीब्यूशन होना चाहिए। इसमें टेंजिबल इंटेंजिबल बेनिफिट्स ये कि जो जैसे हम लोग शाश्वत मकान की जो परिभाषा बोलते हैं कि सस्टेनेबल होम, इको फ्रेंडली होम, तो कहीं ना कहीं इसमें छोटी छोटी चीजें सर, क्रॉस वेंटिलेशन, डेवंटिलेशन, उसके बाद में ग्रीन प्रोडक्ट्स का यूज करके तो ऑक्यूपेंट जो घर के अंदर में रहते हैं उनका भी हेल्थ जो है वो अच्छा रह सकता है एक सस्टेनेबल होम से।
You can have a question answer session informally after the session. This session is over the lunch. Now I will request the next company to please come on the dais, and there are just 5 minutes for you to complete the presentation.
नमस्कार, मैं वंदना फ्रॉम मुंबई। आप सभी का आसान बिल्डिंग सिस्टम में स्वागत है एंड थैंक यू इंडियन बिल्डिंग कांग्रेस, थैंक यू सो मच। आपने हमें यहाँ पे चांस दिया, थैंक यू ऑल ऑफ यू। अभी प्रेजेंटेशन होगा 3 मिनट का, उसके बाद जो भी 1-2 सवाल है आप पूछ सकते हो। नाउ स्टार्ट प्रेजेंटेशन अंकुर, थैंक यू सो मच।
Hello. In time actually he joins the stage. Honorable dignitaries, all professionals, and very newly acquired friends last 24 hours, and ladies and gentlemen. My promoter partner, Mr. Samir. I am Deepak Tiwari, again investor promoter partner. Samir left India way back when he was 18 years old and returned back at the age of 60. So 35 years he spent in Los Angeles, and we as a group, we are into various businesses, right from fashion to real estate as well as other industries. And our objective was, let's do something very concrete. Of course, we are in business, we have to make money, but the whole concept of doing business is now changing, sir. So what we are looking at, we want to work very closely with government. We find out a national cause and try to create a solution which is a win-win for all of us. And when I say Asan, Asan is actually making life Asan. And next 3 minutes, we will try to bring it a revolution, what we are trying to bring it here in India. And I'm sure that in next decade, this is truly going to be a revolution, not only in India, but as well as in Southeast Asia. So over to Ankur. 1, 2, 3. We have a long way to go in technology, because I think one thing, sir, in technology, there is only one word comes in, the compatibility. So as we are trying to solve the problem of the world by providing technology, but also creating lots of restriction by compatibility. So I think there is a little technical bit.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm really sorry there's something which is out of our hands. I'm sorry for waiting. I know lunch is pretty quick by, but I just quickly, because this is something which is very critical, since we are focusing about 2047, and I'm the youngest of the lot. So I have a long way to go, and at this current point, we are focusing on sustainability. The product that we have is basically going to change how dry walling as a concept is what we think of. We all know about parali, or rice straw, or wheat straw, which is an issue in the north at this point. Where in the west where we stay, we don't actually consider that at this point. What we do, sir, is the parali, the rice straw, which is being burned in the north or Karnal or Delhi, we recycle that product. And we create it into a dry walling system. The only thing that comes in that board is compressed, and there is nothing external, no toxins, no chemicals, nothing else. So it is 100% eco product, 100% green, 100% sustainable, and the strength is as far as what a AAC block is. The advantages of the product is it gives you the best acoustic, the installation time. So as far as we all are aware, infrastructure and deadline goes hand in hand. Where it's the biggest challenge that we have is that meeting deadlines. So if you are going to install a AAC block which takes you around 200 square feet a day, my board or our board, as you can say, we install 1000 square feet, which is a jodi, which is one skilled and one unskilled labor, can install 1000 square feet of board in a day, which is 5 times more. I come to the technical aspect. If you see an 8x4 AAC block, which gives you around 400 kgs or 440 kgs, my 8x4 board is around 120 kg, which for a foundation, and since esteemed guest has spoken about structural changes, you save simple 15 to 20% on your steel costing. Commercials aside, at this current point where we are at this point, sustainability is a bigger question that we need to focus on. So we provide sustainability with sticking to the timelines which is important for the project and for the desire that we are looking forward to. So thank you so much everyone. I will just share it.
So just one line, sir, in addition to when we talk about the solving national problem, our group's initiative supports the circular economy. So we are not only picking those rice straw as well as wheat straw. Ideally, it would have been burned as mentioned by Ankur, but it creates an additional income to the farmer. It's a biodegradable product, so it doesn't cause any harm to the environment. And what we talk about, because the whole landscape of infrastructure is changing in this country, right from skilled to non-skilled to multiple coordination and in this new digital world. So it's a one-point kind of a solution, sir. We are right here in the hall number 4. Please do come. Please do come. I think we succeeded to show you something on screen. Just please bear for 1 minute with us. Most of you have been, sir, around, and we got that little opportunity to interact with you one-on-one. But still, as I understand, last 35 years building businesses, what we hear and what we see, there is a huge gap, and we can't leave you without without you really seeing what we are talking about. So please just wait for another 30 seconds if we succeed. Are we? We are almost right there, sir. It does happen. It happened to Chandrayaan also, so I think we can take the deliveries.
इन द मीनवाइल ये बताइए बाइंडिंग के तौर पे क्या इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं?
बाइंडिंग के तौर पे सर बेसिकली जो स्ट्रॉ है इसके अंदर नेचुरल लिग्निन है, तो हम इस प्रोडक्ट का जो स्टार्च है उसको 160 डिग्री पे कॉम्प्रेस कर देते हैं और वो सेल्फ बाइंडर हो जाता है. हम इसके अंदर कोई एडिशनल नहीं यूज करते. जी सर, ये बिल्कुल सेल्फ सस्टेनेबल है.
इसे स्ट्रैट है या दूसरा वेस्ट मटेरियल है?
सर अभी राइस और व्हीट दो से बनाते हैं. लार्जली ये प्रोडक्ट जैसे अकोस्टिक के लिए बहुत ज़्यादा यूज होता है. जैसे आप वर्ल्ड में जाएंगे तो थिएटर्स, स्टूडियो सब तो बनता ही बनता है. अगर हम अपने ऑफिसेस में जाते हैं, आप इस होटल में जाएंगे या हॉस्पिटल में जाएंगे या स्कूल में जाएंगे तो आपकी सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम जो नॉइस की है, तो ये नॉइस ऑलमोस्ट 70% कट कर देता है. इकोसिस्टम जो अंदर रूम के अंदर होता है उसको कम कर देता है.
I think we will take the discussion in their inclusion. We are running time of short, so we will take the discussion in the.
I will, sir.
So this is a circular economy where we collect the rice straw from field and bring it back in construction for drying wall.
Just few data. Basically, it talks about how it can help actually green as a concept. And this product is almost 100% reuse. You can use these boards, fix it and move it next. These are some data sir we'll share. We don't take you too much into the detailing of it. The product has been certified. I just want to say sir, we have spent 7 years in this country building this concept. And the product has been used all across the categories, right from hotels, hotels as well as educational institutions. These are basically, can we move to the next slide please? So these are some flagship projects. GRT Hotel, Medipolis, this is a nursing college, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose University in Sikkim, Matridai Hospital. We are just trying to show you the cross section that this can be used everywhere and anywhere. Barring this, we are already in talk with globally with Dubai, MR, and we are doing a complete prefab where the British consultants they have approved where we are going to move almost 200 villas out of it and so on and so on. And only just last point of submission is it's a one-point solution to everybody involved within that section. And sir, this is the revolution, is the future product. So our request is from the honorable dignitaries, the government bodies, we as a promoter partner, we want to collaborate very closely with the government. And sir, I don't want to give any lecture that what we are doing here in this country. In fact, this is, I feel very lucky that I am only 57 and I have another 25 solid years to go, and I am born here in this country at this hour. That this is that opportunity what everybody talks about. I don't need to sir वापस बोलना नहीं है विकसित भारत. हमें पता है कि हम ऑलरेडी जा रहे हैं. मैं इतना जरूर कह सकता हूँ कि आगे 10 साल में आसान आपकी लाइफ तो आसान करेगी. मुझे लगता है हम सबकी लाइफ बहुत बहुत आसान कर देगी. I must thank you ladies and gentlemen for your time and bearing with us. Thank you so much. Sir, my first plant is in Karnal, 2 lakh square feet. And next 5 years, we will have around 7 plants pan-India. So every state we are looking at having 1 plant wherever you want.
These are non-structural banners, no?
I'm sorry?
Non-structural banners.
Yes, sir. This is basically more comes in the category of dead wall.
Excuse me, please. All further question answer can be across at the lunch. As we are running, we have already overshot the time.
Yes, we are right here in stall number 4. Please do come, sir. We will love to share your email and address and we will come to your doorstep to take this discussion.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for very much.
Now, we will
proceeding with the most pleasant part of the technical session and present our mementos to the session chairman, invited speaker, all authors, co-chairman and the reporter. I would request President IBC, Engineer Chinmay Devnath ji, to please come on the dais and do the honors. We present memento to our chairman, Engineer R.K. Mazumdar, IAS retired. We now present memento to Professor Dipankar Chaudhary. Sir. Dr. K.M. Soni. Along with the memento, we also present a participation certificate to the authors. Architect Aditya Sanyal. Thank you, sir. Dr. Mutalla Prakash had to leave as he had his flight. Thank you for doing the honors. And we will be again assembling here for our technical session 3. And since we have really overshot the time, by 2:30, kindly make it convenient to be back to this hall. Thank you very much.